Hello, good morning. And we are discussing a new topic that is nutrition and health. We'll be discussing today the dietary sources, that is, the food which we eat. It contains carbohydrates, proteins, fats, vitamins, and minerals. So, what are those dietary sources? And also, we'll be studying if that particular vitamin is lacking in that particular diet, what are the deficiency disorders, what are the symptoms, that also will be discussing or studying today. So all of us, we need a balanced diet. A balanced diet consists of carbohydrates, proteins, fats, vitamins, and minerals. So all together, all these major five nutrients, they constitute a balanced diet. Now, what are the three major foodstuffs? Number one is carbohydrates, number two is proteins, and number three is fat. So, carbohydrates, proteins, and fats are the three major foodstuffs. And carbohydrates, they are rich in these diets or these plant products as well as fruits, whole grains, starchy vegetables, and rice. So, carbohydrates are found in honey, sugarcane, fruits, whole grains, starchy vegetables, that is, starchy vegetables or nothing but, for example, potatoes and rice. These are all food products which are rich in carbohydrates, and daily requirement in grams, you should take at least 150 grams to 200 grams of carbohydrates daily. Likewise, proteins, they are found in legumes. For example, garden peas, Pisum sativum, pulses, all lentils. Pulses are nothing but they are seeds. The seeds are otherwise called as pulses. For example, Bengal gram, black gram, green gram. These are all having a common name, pulses. And nuts, cashew, badam, we call almond. All these are coming under nuts, soya bean, green leafy vegetables, and also animal products like fish, poultry, chicken, egg, milk, and dairy products like cheese, butter. All these are rich in proteins. So, daily requirement at least 40 grams you should take daily, protein rich foods. And fats are found in egg yolk, saturated oil. Saturated oil, example, butter, cheese, whole milk, coconut oil, palm oil. These are all called as examples for saturated oil. And also meat, whether it is chicken or mutton, meat is also rich in fats. So every day, at least 35 grams of fats must be there in your diet. So if carbohydrates 150 to 200 grams, proteins 40 grams, fats 35 grams, if you take in this proportion daily, then that is called a balanced diet, balanced diet. Now next we move on to the slide where we see vitamins. Where are these vitamins are found, or in what food products? It may be plant products or animal products. Where are they found? more. And also, if your food or if your diet lack these vitamins, what are the deficiency disorders and what are the symptoms, that also we'll be discussing in this slide. There are two types of vitamins. One is called as fat soluble vitamin and another one is called water soluble vitamin. What are fat soluble vitamins? They are absorbed along with fats in the diet and they are stored in body's fatty tissues and liver. So when you say fat soluble vitamins or fat soluble vitamins, when you say that, it is similar to oil and it cannot dissolve in water. Oil doesn't dissolve in water. Just like that, these fat soluble vitamins are absorbed along with the fats. So these vitamins are absorbed along with fats in our diet and they are stored in our body tissues, mainly fatty tissues, and also in the liver. So first vitamin is called retinol or vitamin A. Where will you find this vitamin A? It is found rich in carrot, papaya, leafy vegetables, fish liver oil. There are many fishes like herring, tuna, mackerel, and also very familiar cod liver oil. So in these fish liver oils, you will find vitamin A. So they are rich in vitamin A. And also vitamin A is rich in egg yolk, liver of goat or even chicken, and dairy products like milk, cheese, butter. These are all products where you will find vitamin A more. They are rich in these diets or these dietary sources. Now, if you lack vitamin A, then that will lead to a disorder called xerophthalmia. Xerophthalmia, or otherwise it is called nyctalopia, which means night blindness. You are unable to see in the night. That is, you can't see in the night. You are unable to see in the night as well as dim light. And also, it leads to the dryness of your cornea in your eyes. And also, it leads to scaly skin. Your skin will be dry. செதில் போன்ற தோள்கள் உருவாகும். The next vitamin is vitamin D. Yesterday, in the first video, we saw that calciferol, vitamin D. Otherwise, it is called sunshine vitamin. Vitamin D is rich in egg, liver, dairy products, fish, and also it is synthesized by the skin in sunlight. Yesterday, or in the last video, I told you that the skin has dehydrocholesterol, and this dehydrocholesterol, when the sun rays falls on the skin, the dehydrocholesterol is converted into cholecalciferol, or otherwise we call it as vitamin D. So if vitamin D is not found in your diet, then it leads to a disorder called rickets. Mainly it is seen in children. What are the symptoms of rickets? Bow legs, defective ribs. Because of these defective ribs, children will develop pigeon's chest. Pigeon's chest. In Tamil we say கோழிமாறுன்னு சொல்லுவோம். So when vitamin D is lacking in your body or even in your diet which you eat, that will lead to rickets. Then the third vitamin, fat soluble vitamin, is vitamin E, otherwise called tocopherol. This is found in whole wheat, meat, vegetable oil, groundnut oil or sunflower oil, any type of oil, and even in milk. So vitamin E is rich in these foodstuffs. When it is lacking, if you don't have vitamin E, that will lead to sterility. That will lead to reproductive abnormalities. And it is also seen in rats, sterility in rats. they cannot reproduce, they cannot give birth to young ones. Malattu thanmai. Then the fourth fat soluble vitamin is vitamin K. This is a derivative of quinone. This vitamin K is very rich. It is found in leafy vegetables, richly found in leafy vegetables, soybeans, and milk. And if you lack vitamin K in your body as well as in your diet, blood clotting is prevented. What do you mean by clotting? Coagulation of blood. Clotting means blood changes from a liquid state to a gel state. So that's what we say clotting. Clotting is nothing but blood changing from a liquid state to a gel state. So that is prevented. So when you get a wound, blood will be oozing out of your body. It will not clot. And excessive bleeding, because that is due to delayed blood clotting. So vitamin K is not there, then that will lead to excessive bleeding. Even if you get a small wound, through that wound or through that injury, blood will be going out, or blood will be, or in other words, excessive bleeding will occur. And we move on to the next slide. Water soluble vitamins. Water soluble vitamins. In other words, these vitamins dissolve in water. What are the dietary sources? And if you lack these water soluble vitamins, what are the deficiency disorders and symptoms that we'll be discussing in this slide? Vitamin B1 is a water soluble vitamin. It is otherwise called thiamine. It is found in whole grains, yeast. Yeast is a fungi, eggs, liver of goat or sheep or chicken. And also it is found in sprouted pulses. What do you mean by sprouted, germinated pulses? Pulses are nothing but seeds. For example, garden peas, Pisum sativum. So முளைக்கட்டின பயிர் என்று சொல்லுவார்கள். These sprouted pulses, they are rich in vitamin B1, that is thiamine. And if you lack vitamin B1, if it is deficient, then that will lead to a disorder called beriberi. What are the symptoms of beriberi? Degenerative changes in nerves. What do you mean by degeneration? Deterioration of tissues and loss of functions of tissues. So these tissues will lose their function. And also the muscles will become very weak, and it results in paralysis. Paralysis is nothing but complete or partial loss of functioning of muscles and tissues. And number 2 is vitamin B2, riboflavin. It is again a water soluble vitamin, and it is found in milk, eggs, liver, green vegetables, and whole grains. And if you lack vitamin B2 in your food or in your body, that will result in a deficiency disorder called ariboflavinosis, or otherwise it is called chillosis. What do you mean by that? In the corners of your mouth, cracks will occur, and also it is very painful. It also causes irritation in your eyes, dry skin, inflammation of lips. When you say inflammation, it means redness or swelling or injury. So inflammation is nothing but swelling of lips. Even fissures is nothing but cracks. So fissures occur in the corners of your mouth, and it will be very painful. So that means you're deficient in vitamin B2. Riboflavin is lacking in your body. Then the third water soluble vitamin is vitamin B3, niacin. Now, this niacin is richly found in milk, eggs, liver, lean meat. What do you mean by lean meat? Low fat content meat. And also, it is seen in groundnuts. Also, it is seen in bran. So, bran is nothing but the pieces of grain husk. In Tamil, we say thavudu. So, if you lack vitamin B3, if you don't have niacin, then that will result in a deficiency disorder called pellagra. What is the symptom of pellagra? Inflammation of skin, swelling, redness in your skin. Even it results in loss of memory. Many say, I cannot memorize. I have a problem in memorizing my lessons, poems, poetry, or even some paragraphs. You don't keep in your mind, you forget very easily. That maybe you lack because you lack this vitamin B3. Then also it leads to diarrhea. So if vitamin B3 is lacking in your cells and tissues of your body, then it results in diarrhea. Then the fourth vitamin is vitamin B6. Otherwise, it is called pyridoxine. It is rich in meat, fish, eggs, germs of grains. Grains, paddy grain, wheat grain. And what do you mean by germs? Germs are nothing but the embryo. The embryo which is found in those seeds. And these embryos only, they grow into a new plant. So these germs or embryos of the grains, they contain vitamin B6 or otherwise called pyridoxine. If you lack vitamin B6, then that will result in a deficiency disorder called dermatitis. And dermatitis is nothing but inflammation in the skin, scaly skin, செதில் போன்ற தோல். And also it results in nervous disorders. It will disrupt the systematic functioning of nervous system, nerves, neurons, nerve cells. There will be an abnormality. They will not function normally. That's what we say, nervous disorder. Disorder means a disruption. And this vitamin B6 also, it is found in cereals, rice, wheat, maize. These are all cereals. And also it is seen in rice polishings, the inner bran layer of rice. So these are all very rich in vitamin B6 or pyridoxine. Then the next water-soluble vitamin is vitamin B12, cyanocobalamin. Cyanocobalamin, vitamin B12. This vitamin B12 is rich in milk, meat, liver, pulses, cereals, and fishes. If you lack vitamin B12 or cyanocobalamin, that will lead to a deficiency disorder called pernicious anemia. Otherwise, this pernicious anemia is called as Addison's anemia. And what is anemia? Decrease in red blood cell production. So when red blood cells, RBCs, are decreased, then oxygen cannot be taken to the blood cells. And also this pernicious anemia results in degeneration of spinal cord. Your spinal cord will be abnormally functioning, deteriorates, loss of functioning. So that is called degeneration of spinal cord. And the last water-soluble vitamin is vitamin C. Otherwise, we call it as ascorbic acid. This is rich in, found in leafy vegetables, sprouts, germinating pulses, And citrus fruits like gooseberry, we call it as amala, and it is found in lemon and also oranges. So when you lack vitamin C, it results in a deficiency disorder called scurvy. And what is the symptom? Swollen and bleeding gums. Your gums begin to bleed. Also, delay in the healing of wounds. If you injure, then those wounds will not be healed immediately. And your teeth and bones are malformed, they are imperfectly formed, or even we say malfunctioning or malformation, abnormality. So, teeth and bones are not perfectly formed because of vitamin C deficiency. So, these are the fat soluble vitamins and water soluble vitamins, and we studied in which foodstuff they are present, and if they lack, what is the deficiency disorder occurs, and also we studied about their symptoms. Then we move on to the next slide. Minerals. Where these minerals are found, in which foodstuff they are found, what are their functions, and also if you lack these minerals, what are the deficiency disorders. The first mineral is calcium. Now this mineral, it is found in dairy products like milk, cheese, butter, etc. Also it is found in beans, cabbages, eggs, and fishes. Now this calcium is the component or constituent of bones and enamel of your teeth, clotting of blood, and also it controls muscle contraction. So these are the functions of calcium. Clotting of blood, I said, the coagulation of blood, that is blood changing from a liquid state to a gel state. So that is done by calcium. And if you lack calcium, what are the deficiency disorders? Bone deformities. That is, the bones are formed imperfectly, abnormally. And also, you will have a poor skeletal growth. Your skeletal system is poorly developed. And also, it results in osteoporosis in adults. What is osteoporosis? The bones will become very weak and brittle. Brittle means it will easily break. The second mineral is sodium. That's what we call it as common salt. Common salt. We add salt to our all food items which we eat. It maintains the fluid balance. When you say fluid balance, the amount of water in the organism need to be controlled. Not only the amount of water in the organism need to be controlled, the concentration of electrolytes in various body fluids, it should be kept within a healthy range. So for that, you need this sodium common salt. And it also involved in neurotransmission. So neurotransmission is nothing but it's a process where the signaling molecules, they are called as neurotransmitters. They are released by the neurons have uh, axon, cyton, and dendron. So the axon, the terminal part, it will bind and react with the receptors of the dendrites of another neuron. So the axon terminal of one neuron, it binds and it reacts with the dendrites or dendrons of another neuron. That's how the messages are communicated. So there is a communication between one neuron and another neuron. We call that as nerve impulses. So what do you mean by nerve impulse or nerve impulse? It is nothing but the nerve cells communicate with one another. So, sodium, it is involved in neurotransmission. So, if you lack sodium in your body, that will lead to muscular cramps. What do you mean by muscular cramps? In Tamil, we say tasai pidipugal. Tasai pidipugal. It's a involuntary contraction of muscles. And also, nerve impulses do not get transmitted. That nothing but the nerve cells will not communicate with one another. So that is because of deficiency of sodium in your body. The third mineral is called potassium. Potassium is rich in banana. That's why you should eat one banana. Sweet potatoes, sakkaravalli kelangu, nuts, whole grains, citrus fruits, oranges, lemon, etc. So they are rich in, these foodstuffs are rich in potassium, and they regulate your nerve and muscle activity. So regulate means they control, they maintain your nerves and your muscle activity. If you lack potassium in your body, that will lead to deficiency disorders like muscular fatigue. What is muscular fatigue? A decline in the ability of muscle to generate a force. So, fatigueness. You become very lazy. Nerve impulses do not get transmitted. There is no communication between one neuron and another neuron. So, these are all the deficiency disorders of potassium. When you lack potassium, you will get these muscle fatigue, nerve impulses will not get transmitted. So these three, calcium, sodium, and potassium, are called as macronutrients. They are needed in large quantities. You have to take large quantities of these minerals. And micronutrients are needed to our bodies in less amount. Number one is iron. Iron is a mineral. It is rich in spinach. We call it as pasilikire or pasalai kirai. It is also rich in dates, greens, broccoli. What is broccoli? Its name comes from, which means flowering crest of cabbage. பச்சை பூக்கோசு தமிழ்ல பச்சை பூக்கோசு broccoli. And also this iron is rich in whole cereals, nuts, fish, and liver. And this iron is a very important component, constituent of hemoglobin. And if you lack iron, if there is deficiency of this mineral, then that will result in a deficiency disorder called anemia, lack of red blood cells. That will lead to anemia. So that when there is no red blood cells, oxygen is carried, it is not carried to your cells. And if oxygen is not carried to your cells, the glucose which is stored in the cell is not broken down and energy is not released. So it leads to your whole body, malfunctioning of your whole body. So you have to take iron rich foodstuffs. And the second micronutrient or the second mineral is iodine. This is rich in milk, all seafoods, fish, crabs, prawns, and iodized salt. That is why we take these iodized salt. And what is the function of these iodine? Formation of thyroid hormones like triiodothyroxine and thyroxine. Triiodothyronine and thyroxine. If it is lacking, iodine is lacking in your body, then that will lead to goiter. What is goiter? Abnormal enlargement of your thyroid gland. Here we stop and we will continue in the next video. Thank you very much. God bless you.